All right, everybody, we're doing a long-awaited video about steamers. I've got some dresses to steam today on the rack, so I thought we would get into this. I'm going to start off by talking about my steamer specifically. If your steamer doesn't have a panel like this on the front, you can go look up online to see the specs for yours specifically, because it will tell you what kind of water to use, and that's super important for your unit. Right now I have it on preheat, so that way it's going to get up to 200 degrees and it'll be ready to steam by the time I'm done talking, hopefully. This is the most important part, I think. Well, maybe the cap is too. You want to have the cap secured so that steam can build inside of here. This is basically like a giant tea kettle. It's a boiler. And this tells you how much water is in it. And you can see my sediment level is decent. I need to clean this out this week because I've been doing a lot of steaming. The sediment is just from the water itself. Now, this unit uses hot tap water, not distilled. You can put distilled water into a unit that says otherwise. It's totally up to you. It doesn't really make too much of a difference with this guy because he's an industrial boiler. It's got a fiberglass shell. And it does get dusty, so you can see she collects a lot of dust on top. So if I take this out places, I'll clean it before I go. And if I'm working on a wedding dress with it, then I definitely tidy it up a little bit. It comes with a preheat and a steam mode. So the preheat gets it up to 200 degrees and the steam goes full. I think this one goes up to 350. I don't recall. I'd have to look because it doesn't have it listed on here. This one holds 4 quarts. I don't ever fill it up all the way, just out of habit. It has a telescoping pole, which is also helpful if I go somewhere that doesn't have a place for me to hang it. I can hang the garment from here. Now, it's not full height or anything, so you still have to work with it. I usually will keep some spare fabric, if that's the case. So I'll put some fabric down on the floor around the steamer to be like a tablecloth to protect what I'm working on, if that's what I need to do. And then let's take a look at some of the dresses I'm going to be steaming today. So I have a knit crepe. She's not too wrinkly. I did the straps and the hem on this, so we'll see how that can be improved with some steam. That's a birdie gray. This is a Baltic born. This is super pretty dress. It's a satin polyester. You can definitely see she will look good. Now, this one can also be ironed. I ironed at the bottom already where I did the hem and it looked great. And then this one is a Lulu's that I have hand washed already because it had deodorant marks under it. So I've already laundered it. I added the ruffle to the bottom to extend the length because this particular gal is tall and now this dress is her length. So this definitely will benefit from steam. It actually looks worse on the camera than in person. So that's kind of cool. So these are the ones I'm going to be working on steaming today. And then I think I will probably use some diffusers. So they make fancy diffusers, but I grew up in a make-do shop. So we used a lot of muslin or layers of tulle. So depending on what you're doing, you can actually wrap the head of the steamer, which is up here. Now this is gravity, so the hose actually stays up to hold the steam in place. That's what that spring is for. If you ever get a steamer secondhand that doesn't have a spring, you have to buy one. It's very, very necessary. So the head of this video is not going to be edited, so we're just going to roll with it. This is my real life. Okay, so diffusers do exactly that. They kind of help you control the steam. If you have a steamer that's older and very spitty, this will help control it. So what you want to do is make sure your fabric is flat on the front. And then I always save a little piece of corset lace and I hold it in a loop, go around and pull. And that way I can release it when I want to, but this will help give me softer steam. I feel like it probably cuts it down by 1/3, so you still get steam coming out, but less. So this is really good for if you're doing wedding dresses or white. I'm gonna steam without a diffuser today so we can see what it will look like plain. And it's still on preheat right now. So I don't generally recommend putting your diffusers on when your steamer is fully steaming. So I usually do 2 layers for tulle. You can do 4. And again, what you'll want to do is make sure everything on the face of the steamer head is flat. Like that. It's pretty close to flat. Oh, maybe it's not close. Pretty close to flat. Now, obviously, you could trim this down. I would never carry quite this much tulle with it. This is just a scrap that I had handy. And same thing. I think this is like a lark's head knot. I don't remember what it's called exactly. So again, you fold the loop, make a loop in half, go around, and then grab your tails. And they do make ones that fit on the tops of the steamer heads nicely. Like I said, I just always did this because that's how I was taught, and chances are you already have these things in your shop. So why not use what you already have? And be able to like add some customization. So the key is that you want this to stay flat and smooth. Now, the caveat to this, the only like thing to talk about that could be a negative is if you do have a really spitty system and it gets really wet here, it's going to be hot also. So you'll want to wear a glove with this just for safety. Safety when you're steaming is super important because this is very, very hot. It's boiled water, it's steam. And you can injure yourself. Don't ever steam on your body or on a client because that's just dumb. And you can steam onto like a ham or a pressing mitt, but make sure that they're rated for that. So you want to buy something that's specific. Don't use like an oven glove. In that case, those shortcuts are not good because those shortcuts will hurt you or somebody else. I'm going to hang this up the rest of the way for right now. Sorry for the unattractive angle. Told you this is an unedited real life video today. Not that I ever edit any of mine into looking different. Around, I'm going to crank this into steam. And I'm going to go ahead and get my cord off the bottom. Now, I've taken this out to do weddings steaming many, many times. Many, many times. So this is not her first rodeo. Now, I'm going to do these right on the rack here, and then I will bag them once they're all dry. So let me give myself some space. There we go. Okay. I'm going to face this out and get all set up. Okay. And then okay, let's see if this is a good spot. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Professional. All right, so before I start steaming any garment, I will also have ready some clips or pins to hold things out of the way so I can get to all the layers. Usually, these are all very, very low profile garments, so I'm not really fighting anything today as far as needing to have clips. I'll do a separate video on just dresses that are bridal dresses, so you can see the different things that I do for those. Now, this has not started heating all the way up yet. I also like to keep the temperature in the room either very warm or very cold. So very cold means that it's going to dry quicker and the heat's going to set faster. Or a warm room will help you preserve the environment and make your steaming go easier. So if you're doing a ball gown, I would probably turn the fan off just to make sure you have a warmer environment. Starting to see a little bit of steam coming out. Yes. Now, not every steamer makes big, thick dragon smoke steam. It's just going to depend on what your steamer is doing and the cleanliness of the unit. So, depending on how often you clean your unit, the sediment that builds in the bottom, it changes the temperature of the water. So part of the reason you want to clean your unit out enough is so that you don't have a bunch of sand, minerals in the bottom that are heating up higher than what the unit should go to, or you know, just spitting out and creating situations that are not fun for you. So before this actually heats up, I'm gonna show you the motions that I like to use. Ooh, we're getting some, nope, we're there. We got some steam going. Okay, so my favorite method is to go from the inside out. And I kind of go at the same speed that I do for like straightening your hair. And I'm going up through all the layers. And I'm kind of letting gravity help me drag everything down. And then same thing. So you can see the steam coming out. Oh, she's doing beautiful. Sometimes your equipment knows that you're filming and it starts acting funky. Yes. So peaceful. I know not everybody loves steaming, but I do. I grew up doing a lot of steaming at the shop that I worked at as a teenager, and it's always fun to see something go from wrinkly to clean. Now, I do charge for this service. These dresses I'm not charging for on because they're for demonstration purposes, so this is just something I'm doing for these gals because I wanted to use their dresses for examples. Otherwise, I don't generally include a steam. You can if you want to, but as you can see, it does take time. So you either have to bill for this separately or build it into your overhead to include the steam and the time. I would just rather get paid for this separately because this is a whole nother ball of wax. Finishing skills are a whole nother thing to seamstressing. You know, I love garment finishing. This is definitely something I'm very passionate about. Stain removal is one of my favorite oddball things in life. And I think that just comes from working at that alteration shop where we did a lot of dry cleaning take-in. So it was always nice to save people's garments and to help them get pretty for their big days and stuff. So now you can steam from the top as well. I just really like how the gravity helps itself out. Just didn't get this quite. This spot. I really like how the gravity helps when you do from underneath though. And also I feel like it helps just protect everything a little bit more. I could be wrong. A lot of my observations about steaming are literally just that. These are from my years of steaming tons of dresses. And this is what I would call good for this type of dress, for this type of steam. I'm going to focus a little bit on the zipper. Now, I didn't do anything on the zipper. This is just how the zipper came. I'm going to try to flatten it out a little bit. That looks pretty okay. Now, as you can see, this fabric got darker when I steamed it. Don't let that make you afraid. It's all right. Reds do that too. And then I'm being very careful of where I'm putting my hands. You don't want to get too close to what you're holding on to. Okay, so I'm gonna let this cool. I'm gonna hang this dress over at the end of my rack in front of the fan to cool off. So she's done. Let's get into this one. Now I don't have this one on a swivel hanger, so you'll see the challenges here. This one has a slit. Okay. Anytime there's pleats, I try to spread the pleats out. And I'm just staying on the fabric as long as I need to. So if it looks like I need to stay on a spot longer, then I will, but I don't want to stay too long if it's already working. Oh, that's gorgeous. I wanted to buy a dress from this company for Rouse's Baltic Born. They're so stunning. I've had 2 or 3 dresses for some gals from here, and they're just really beautiful. And I feel like this rack top fits everybody really nice, so that's like a super huge plus. I feel like you're always needing to add snaps to a rack top for everybody, and I feel like that makes busty girls feel like they're too big, so that hurts my heart a little. So I love that this one fit and didn't need any adjustments for this particular gal. And you can see the steam is working beautifully. Everything is falling out excellently. Now, my steamer is being on her absolute best behavior. She is not spitting at all. And of course, now that I've said it, she's gonna probably start spitting. Gorgeous. Now, the same process applies to wedding dresses with multiple layers. I'll usually just clip up the layers with some, you know, the same clips you use to clip a bride into a dress. Those kind, like from Harbor Freight. I'll just kind of clip them up out of the way, work on one layer at a time. Oh, this fabric is gorgeous. Isn't it amazing how polyester is not as like a bad word anymore? Like, they've got some cool fabrics copied in polyester. Oh, she's trying to escape me. Now, like I said, I only did the hem on this dress because it was perfect already, so that's kind of exciting. And I'm just readjusting and I'm trying to watch where my hands are because I don't want to burn myself. Now, some people will say you should always use a glove when you're steaming, and I'm sure that's the right answer. I just, again, I never did. It's probably always a good idea. I just try to watch where my hands are, honestly. Get up and inside of everybody. And then on the bodice, I'm going to show from the top. Now, as you can see, the swivel hangers are much easier to work with because then you don't have to adjust up here. But I feel like when you do it from the top, this is also when you're going to get like water spotting. And this is generally about as long as I take on any bridesmaid's dress. I do kind of a quicker version. Oh good, we got some water so you can see. So the hanger has created a situation here. Can you see that? Where the water has collected. There's like a straight line. It's gonna dry, it's gonna be fine. I feel like that's worth pointing out. And then on skinny pieces like this, obviously hitting it with an iron would be much easier, but you can also steam long pieces. The trick is to not put your hand directly above it. Kind of use the gravity this way. But she's really not too wrinkly, so I'm not going to hit that super hard. I think that looks pretty good. And I will move her to the end of the rack now to cool off with the other dress. When these are cooled, I'll bag them up. You don't want to bag up a dress that's wet though, because mold. Okay, so I'm back onto this guy. Now, like I said, I've already hand washed this dress. This gal is super awesome. She bought this dress on a super huge deal and didn't mind spending the money to get the ruffle added to make it longer because she's very tall. And I feel like it was really fun to work with her, especially because she is a hairstylist, so she knows that, like, she just knows the real life. So when I told her the price of it, she's like, oh yeah, no big deal, I saved money because the dress was inexpensive. I feel like sometimes people think because the dress is inexpensive, it should, like, the alteration should follow suit and be super inexpensive. Now, this wasn't a super expensive one in anyways, but you know how people are. They're like, well, I got it for free, so it should be free. And you're like, no. Sorry, these are bad pants to wear for steaming. They just keep rolling down and rolling down. Again, this is my real life. Okay. I can't wait to watch this on the camera for myself and see how cool this looks. I want to peek at the camera, but I also want to make sure I'm doing a good job. And see, how could you not love steaming a dress? Like, look at that. And I also think about my clients while I'm steaming their dresses. I know that's probably really weird. Too much information that you did not need. But I think about the nice evening they're going to have. Maybe they'll meet a nice person if they're single. Maybe they'll go with their husband and have a great time, or, you know, their partner. Maybe they'll eat lots of delicious dinner and sleep well, and they'll have fun dancing and all that good stuff. And, you know, I just like to think those nice things that are going to happen for people while they're wearing this beautiful dress. Her confidence level will be so high that maybe she'll sing. I don't know. Maybe she'll have a good time at the party, and I don't know. That's just what I think about while I'm steaming. Now, since I know I used OxyClean on this, I'm just gonna double check. I've already, like, washing this is already showing me, sorry, this is basically gonna be a video of me pulling my pants up the entire time. Because I know I've already washed this, I already know what the fabric is gonna do. It crocked quite a bit in the water, and I'm glad actually that I was able to clean this for her beforehand, because I would worry about this crocking on her later. And it didn't dye the straps, so that's good. And I probably should have taken a video of me actually washing the dress itself, but I didn't think about that. So crocking is when you have dye loss and it bleeds out into the water, and it can also leak onto your clothing or your armpits, and it's not very cute. Let's see how this looks. Zip it up. Whew. And see, this is why I charge for this, generally speaking, is because even just these 3 dresses, these take a minute to do. They're not nothing. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? How's that look in the camera? Oh yeah, beautiful. Now this ruffle, got it sorted out down here. Okay. This is actually a flounce. I'm very excited to have found the color that coordinated so pretty. This is all ironable also, but I just wanted you to see the different fabrics because this is a shantung that I added onto the bottom here. And you can see it works really well with every fabric. So every fabric that I've worked on today has done great. And I didn't like pre-choose because this is my real workload right now. There's no time to stage anything fancy during bridal season. I will definitely get some wedding dresses up. I ordered some wedding dresses to use for scrap, and I was thinking of maybe doing demonstration steaming on those, but when I have actual projects I can steam on, like why wouldn't I just show you my actual projects? So that's where we're at. Okay, so I'm gonna hang this back up and recorrect my pants one more time. So clearly these are not the right pants. I do not recommend these pants for steaming. I'm gonna hang this back up, and you can see there's quite a bit of steam still coming out. Yeah. So exciting. She did a great job. Look at that, cool steam. Champ. I'm gonna put it back onto preheat. Preheat keeps it at that middle temperature so that you can turn it back on to steam full without having to start all over again. This one takes about 10-ish minutes to heat up, but some of them take a little bit longer. Okay, so I hope that gave you guys some information about steaming, and there's obviously a lot more to talk about as far as the whole journey with steaming. You can, I'm winded. I am old. That's what I said though. This is why I charge for it. It's not nothing. So yes, it's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it's still effort. It's still water, and distilled water. So mine uses tap, but distilled water is not rationed right now, but it is kind of in limited supply. I need to exercise. So there's just things to take into account. And then if you bag everything and give hangers to your customers, those are things that you want to account for in your business, so that you aren't just giving people things away. If you're going to provide day of steaming, that would be super fun to do because it's not going to go back into a bag, and it's not going to be crushed in their car and then taken back out. You know, I think that's part of why I don't like doing full steaming for them to pick it up, because they're not going to see the crisp value of what they're spending for the steam work. So steaming on site is really, really cool. So basically you take out your whole setup, you take out some stain removal items as well, you know, lint roller and all that good stuff. And you do this in front of everybody. You do this whole thing while they're getting ready. And then they get to wear a crisp dress with no wrinkles in it, like right off the bat, which is super lovely. And I feel like that's just the next level of awesome customer service. And then the brides too. I mean, could you imagine being wrinkle free, like 100%? That's quite a flex. All right, well, I'm going to sit down longer and take a rest because that was embarrassingly exhausting. I'm very out of shape. I hope this gave you a lot to talk about in the comments if you guys do things differently. Again, there's nothing brand new here. This is not new information. This is just so that we have a video with all the information in it. As far as everything goes, I probably could do a video of me cleaning the unit out so you can see how that works. But I think the most important part is to know that your units will need cleaning. And as long as you know that that's a fact, I'm very happy, because there's lots of videos on how to clean them from like the manufacturers. You can do a vinegar run through it and stuff like that. Yeah, stinky. But yeah, as long as you know that you need that information, you'll know where to look for it when you need it. So there's that. Whew. Okay, well, I'm done talking now. I feel like a Midwesterner where they say goodbye to you 5 times and then they actually mean it on the last one. That's me today with this video. All right, so we're ending this right now. Let's see, we're at 25 minutes of steaming for 3 dresses. Awesome possum. You guys have a great rest of your day or evening wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video.